Welcome to part 3 of a 4-part series that has been prepared for citizens considering running as a candidate for election in a Saskatchewan municipality. Part 3 focuses on the key standards and values expected of council members, as well as responsible conduct required. This series is meant to be thought-provoking and provide you with a broad overview of municipal government, what you can expect and what is expected of you as a member of council, candidate eligibility, and the process to run for council. It is important to remember that these videos are not a substitute for the legislation that contains election requirements. It is the election candidate's responsibility to ensure they meet the legislative requirements and deadlines for running for council. To assist in meeting those responsibilities, you can contact your local municipal office, review municipal election information on Saskatchewan.ca website, and review the legislative requirements contained in the Local Government Election Act 2015 and its regulations. Legislation requires a municipality to have a code of ethics bylaw for members of council that includes the following key standards and values expected of them during their term of office. Honesty. Being truthful in their roles as council members and as members of the communities they serve. Objectivity. The ability to make decisions carefully, fairly, and impartially. Respect. Treating every person with dignity, understanding, and respect. Not engaging in discrimination, bullying, or harassment. Not using derogatory language towards others. Respecting the rights of other people and groups. Treating people with courtesy and recognizing the importance of different roles others play in decision-making. Transparency and accountability. Councils are required to conduct their business and duties in an open and transparent manner, except for those discussions that are authorized to be confidential. Council must be willing to accept responsibility for decisions made and account for their own actions. Confidentiality. Members of council must refrain from disclosing or releasing confidential information except when required by law or authorized by council to do so. It's up to the council member to not take advantage of or obtain private benefit from information obtained in the course of their duties or position. Leadership in the public interest. The ability to lead, listen to, and positively influence others are behaviors expected of a council member. Council members are to act in the best interests of the municipality, focus on issues important to the community, and strive to build and inspire the public's trust and confidence in local government. Responsibility. It's important to understand the role and legislative requirements that apply to individual council members, the municipal council, and the local government system as a whole. A council member must follow policies and procedures of the municipality while upholding the duty to disclose actual or potential conflicts of interest and carry out the related actions involved with declaring conflicts of interest. Additional characteristics key to the role of a council member include being collaborative, coming together to pursue a common goal through collaborative efforts and work with other municipalities in areas of common interest for the betterment of the region. Integrity. Be honest and demonstrate strong ethical principles. Influential. Build relationships, provide facts, explain points of view, listen to concerns, and provide real examples of the impact of taking or not taking action. Committed. have the time, energy, and motivation required to be effective and responsive to the community's needs. Patient and tolerant. Have patience and tolerance for others' points of view and for the council and administrative processes and procedures. Listen to others when they are expressing their views. And empathetic. Be understanding and sensitive to the feelings and experiences of others. Now that you know the key standards and values expected of a council member, here are some questions for you to consider. How do you demonstrate the characteristics of a council member? Are these traits that come naturally to you, or will you need to work to build and maintain them? What are your strengths, and how will they help shape the way your municipality moves forward if you are elected? Responsible conduct is how council members conduct themselves in their relationships with fellow council members, municipal staff, and the public. It is directly connected to how a municipality is governed. A council member's relationships with their colleagues, staff, and the public play a significant role in carrying out their responsibilities. Legislative requirements that support responsible conduct of council members include the oath or affirmation of office, public disclosure statements, conflict of interest rules, code of ethics bylaw, and the council procedures bylaw. We will look at each of the legislative requirements in a little more detail so that you have a better understanding of your responsibilities should you become elected. Once elected, the oath or affirmation of office must be completed by every council member. The council member must declare that they will act truthfully, faithfully, and impartially, will not receive any payment or reward for any corrupt practices while in office, abide by and comply with the code of ethics, rules of conduct, and procedures required by legislation, perform the duties of a council member, and disclose any conflict of interest. Also, once elected, all council members must complete and annually update a public disclosure statement. A public disclosure statement is also required to be submitted with the nomination form prior to being elected. The public disclosure statements help assure the public that when a council member is elected to office, council decisions are made in the best interest of the municipality. They also have a direct impact when dealing with a conflict of interest, assist with transparency and accountability, and assist with the public in understanding dealings that may compromise a council member's ability to make decisions. Required information on the public disclosure statement relates to the council member and the council member's family, spouse, and dependent children, and includes the disclosure of an employer, corporate interests, partnerships, property holdings, and contracts and agreements. Conflict of interest rules are found in municipal legislation. Identifying, addressing, and managing conflicts of interest are key to good governance and maintaining the public's trust and confidence in their local government. A conflict of interest occurs when a council member's private interests or a family member's interests may or may appear to be affected by a council decision. A council member having a conflict of interest is not unusual. When that happens, the conflict of interest rules must be followed. It is the responsibility of each council member to determine if they have a conflict of interest, either real or perceived, in a matter brought before council and take the appropriate action. The Code of Ethics Bylaw. The standards and values expected of each member of council in dealing with each other, employees of the municipality, and the public are defined in the Code of Ethics Bylaw. There must also be a process for dealing with contraventions to the bylaw. The Code of Ethics Bylaw may also include rules regarding censure or suspension of a council member who has contravened the bylaw, other statements of ethics, and standards determined by council, among other things. And lastly, municipalities must have a council procedure bylaw, which establishes general procedures to be followed in conducting business at council meetings and council committee meetings, such as rules for the conduct of members of council, rules regarding confidentiality, transparency, openness, and accessibility of documents and other matters to be discussed, establishment of dates for council meetings, and rules and procedures to close all or a part of the meeting to the public to discuss confidential information allowed by legislation. Now that we have reviewed the responsible conduct expected of council members, take some time to reflect on these questions. What does responsible conduct mean to you? How do you express your disagreement with others? How do you work through those disagreements with others? Are you able to disagree while still maintaining a professional attitude and an open mind? How will you demonstrate the personal characteristics necessary to be effective, even in challenging situations? For additional resources on elections and the role of council, please visit Saskatchewan.ca and search for any of the following: municipal elections, consider running for council guide, conflict of interest, public disclosure guide and templates, the Local Government Election Act 2015 and the regulations, and the Council Members Handbook. For more information, contact your municipality. If you have technical questions about legislation, contact a municipal advisor with the Ministry of Government Relations, the Advisory Services and Municipal Relations Branch. Thank you for watching part 3 of this 4-part series. You can find the remaining series on Saskatchewan.ca.